Bright sunshine in Barrow. A very warm welcome to our league for the first of the two AB Sundex 1895 Cup semi-finals as Barrow host all-conquering Featherstone Rovers, the very ambitious side from Post Office Road. Ryan Briley of the Salford Red Devils is alongside us for this one, who played in the semi-finals a few years ago, 2019, when you went at it at Lee and ultimately came up short against Windus. What are these occasions like, Ryan?
Yeah, huge, especially for the championship clubs. Obviously, the dreams of getting to a big final. So now at Tottenham, it's obviously an unbelievable stadium, and yeah, I'm very jealous of lots of the players playing today. It's a massive occasion, and should be a great game. We'll
hear from the head coaches in just a moment, but Barrow obviously with it all to do against a Featherstone side that nobody really can get that close to at the moment.
Yeah, huge, and I think what Featherstone have done this year has been remarkable. I think that the signings they've made is unheard of in the championship, and they're having a great season. But I think Barrow themselves, especially when they're at home, are a different beast. So obviously when the crowd, I've been the victim of a bit of abuse on that side as well. So it should be, I think it's a cup competition, so anything can happen. But especially at Barrow, it's as the makings of a great game.
And in terms of what's at stake, I mean, there aren't many huge prizes on offer in rugby league. You win your cup competition, you try and get to the grand final and win that. So in terms of the opportunity that's there, put that into words for what the players are going out to try and achieve today.
You're right, George. There's not many chances these players get. Also, when I was at League a couple of years ago playing, I thought the chance to get to a cup final was massive for me. So I think for the teams obviously in this league, this is their dream. Obviously, the Chance Cup final probably a little bit too unrealistic, but this 1895 Cup has given a great opportunity to players who can play on the biggest stage and put themselves in a real showcase event, which obviously Tottenham will be.
And how do you go about beating Featherstone, which nobody has been able to do yet?
I think for Barrow, obviously, bring the crowd into it, bring the emotion into the game. Obviously, Featherstone will want to come here and everything go according to plan, and Barrow got to disrupt that. Also, now we've got a few players missing, with Hakeem Maludi and also Gary Wheeler missing, so they just got to disrupt and find a way to try and make a mess of Brian McDermott's game plan, which is easier said than done.
4 weeks still of his ban left, their star man from Barrow, Hakeem Maludi. Ryan Briley will be with us for full live and exclusive commentary this afternoon of Barrow against Featherstone Rovers here on Our League, the first semi-final of the 1895 Cup. And let's hear next from the two head coaches. Paul, good to see you. Thanks for joining us so close to kick-off. How has the preparation, how's the week been for you and the guys?
Well, we've had a short week. We picked up a few injuries after the Monday night game against York, but we've put some fresh bodies in. We haven't played anybody carrying an injury, and we're looking forward to it. We've picked a physical side, and Brian's picked a physical side as well, knowing he's coming to Cumbria, so hopefully we can give him a game.
How big is the carrot here? How big is the opportunity for you with a place, okay, not Wembley, but a place and a trip to London at stake if you can perform today?
Well, it's massive to play at home and in the semi-final of a major competition. You know, it's been a fantastic achievement for us. It's took its toll in terms of injuries and the league campaign and suspensions, but we're here now and we've got to do it. And like I say, nothing's impossible. I've got Jared Samet in there, who played in the £1 million London game against Toronto when nobody gave him a prayer, and I'll remind the lads of that. And it's a one-shot deal, and we're under no pressure. They're the big money team, a bit like Huddersfield, and we can play a little bit, but it's a big ask because they're on fire, and they put big numbers on us when we played at Featherstone, and they put big numbers on last week at Widnes. But having said that, he's picked a really physical side, so he's probably going to go route one and rough us up a little bit, but we're looking forward to that. And if they do, we'll probably match that and maybe might steal it. We don't know. They've got some strike that we've got to contend with all over the field, but as a club and a group, we're looking forward to it.
And where do you think you are as a team and as a club right now? You had a terrific start to the season, and then a difficult few weeks, kind of coinciding with losing some bodies and a star man to a lengthy ban.
Yeah, definitely. And against York on Monday, if we reviewed the game, there was a few chances we missed. Ryan Shaw changes hands, fends with his right, goes in the corner. Jared Samet clean under the post, missed it. We met Jack Wells going through the middle, and it was small margins, and they're third in the comp, won the last 5 straight. So where we are in the competition, we're a side that's gone up from League One with a sprinkling of local players and some senior players that hold us together. So you know, I know where we are in terms of mid-table and scrapping up and trying to get away from that relegation zone, because when we get injuries, to bring one player in, we've got to speak to 10, and these other teams pick up players really easily, and all the company and clubs struggle, and that's been a problem. So we've decided to try and farm our own, and we're doing that with Charlie and Luke and Ryan Johnson, Jake Carter and players like that. So we're happy in where we're at. It's a slow building programme. You know, we're not looking for Super League, you know, like Featherstone and Lee, and it's you know, the two teams fighting it out for that top spot. I feel the rest of us are making up the numbers.
And as a final thought before we let you go back in there, what are going to be your final few words you say to the team before you send them out here?
Well, let's have no regrets and give it. You know, we never know unless you give it your best shot. 13 against 13, we've got to be at our very, very best to get some kind of result. They need to be off. And we all have a saying, complacency is the enemy of winners, and we beat Lee on this ground before. In the cup last time, 2 years ago, we went there with a scratch start side. Brett Carter was a winger playing in the halves, and we got beat on the bell. So, you know, we've got to give it our best shot and have no regrets when we come off and see what comes of it. But they're a very, very well-drilled quality side, and I say we've got to be our best to get any kind of result.
Thanks for your time, Paul. Very best of luck today.
Thanks, man.
Brian, good to see you. How's the week been?
Yeah, decent. We had a decent win last week, and yeah, we put everybody back together again on Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday, and travelled up yesterday, so it's been a good prep.
Yeah, why did you come up the night before? Was that to try and replicate what might be in store for the final?
No, it's a 2 o'clock kickoff, and it just makes for a really early start. And you know, for most people travelling up, they'll travel up day of the game, but you know, our fellas have got to put a shift in at the end of it. So we didn't get here till late last night, but you know, woke up at a decent hour this morning and went for a bit of a walk, had a bite to eat, and quick as you know it, we're at the ground ready to play.
Does this feel any different today, that it's the cup semi-final with what's at stake, or is it another match?
No, it's yeah, we're aware of what type of game this is. We're aware it's not just a league game, and if we win this, we get through to a final. So yeah, there's certainly a good mentality about the players to get through to that final.
Team news-wise, you made a couple of changes. Looks another very strong Featherstone side, a very physical Featherstone side.
Well, we've got a game at the moment, and both defensively and offensively, we've got some momentum there. We're not quite the finished product yet, but you know, when we get it right, we're a decent team, and I think for us to assume we're just going to get it right without having to work out today, we could come unstuck. And we did a job on Barrow a couple of weeks ago, but I don't think that's the Barrow we're going to face today. So, you know, we'll find out what in the first 15 minutes about what Barrow are going to be like, but we're expecting a good version of them.
Thanks for your time, Brian. Good luck.
Thank you.
The Featherstone Rovers head coach Brian McDermott and Paul Crary, his opposite number, the head coach of the Barrow Raiders, speaking to me a short time ago. And these are live pictures here in bright sunshine at the Matt Johnson Prestige Stadium in Barrow, and we're poised for what we hope will be a gripping first semi-final of the AB Sundex 1895 Cup. Featherstone Rovers yet to taste defeat this season. Only the Batley Bulldogs have come close with a draw away in the Betfred Championship. At home, as far as Batley are concerned, can Barrow become the first side to topple Rovers today? We will find out over the next couple of hours as the two sets of players finalise their preparations and make their way back down the tunnel on the far side. That's the home side in the blue with white trim, and Featherstone in their change shirts today of all white with the sky blue trim, and they'll be going toe-to-toe in the next 5 minutes. Good turnout, both from West Yorkshire, travelling up. We were stuck behind a couple of coach loads of Featherstone Rovers fans. The team itself didn't risk it today. They came up the night before, perhaps just to sample the cup final match day preparations. Who knows? Let's have a check then on the two sides. Barrow, of course, without their star man Hakim Maloudi as he continues his ban 4 weeks away, but still bags of talent in that Raiders side with Luke Cresswell at fullback, T. Ritson, their star man in the absence of Maloudi, alongside Jared Stack, Ryan Shaw and Brett Carter. All the experience, all the guile of Jared Samet in the halves with Ryan Johnston, and then up front Sam Brooks, Josh Wood and Ellis Gillam, and completing the 13. The second row, Tom Hopkins and Danny Morrow, and Brad Krellin will play loose forward. That interchange bench of Nathan Mossop, the replacement hooker, Dan Toll, Anthony Iria and Sam Essay for the head coach, Paul Crary. As for Featherstone, Brian McDermott has got a wealth of experience and talent to call upon. Still not quite sure what his strongest 17 is. 2 changes made today, but boy, look at that as a starting 17. Mark Corella is at fullback, then Luke Briscoe, Joey Leilua, Ben Helliwell back in alongside Craig Hall. Morgan Smith and Riley Jacks, who's scoring hat-tricks for fun at the moment in the halves. Craig Kopchak, the big bopper, the former Bradford Bull, with Matty Wildy back in the starting 13 at hooker, and the skipper James Lockwood, Jack Bussey, John Davis and Junior Moores completing the 13. So Connor Jones will come off the bench with the grand final winner, the former Leeds runner Brett Ferris, Luke Cooper and Jesse Senna-Lafayette, the former Castleford Tiger. Mr. Grant is today's referee as we await the 2 sides. Ryan Briley is alongside me, high up on the gantry for this one. What are you expecting today? Do we give Barrow a hope?
Yeah, I think so, and just basically because it's at Barrow's home ground. I think obviously all the cards point to a Featherstone victory, heavy favourites in this game, but obviously I've played it at this ground enough times and got plenty of reviews, so I understand how hard it is to play these grounds, especially in big games when there's a lot of emotion riding on the game. So it'll be a tough test for Featherstone, one that I'm expecting to come through, but I think it'll be a real tough game for them.
Can't be many grounds that you played and haven't got abuse, have there, Ryan?
True, especially me.
But we're looking forward to this one. Featherstone Rovers just starting to go up through the gears. So much has been made of the battle at the top of the Betfred Championship between Featherstone, with Brian McDermott, the most successful coach in the history of the British game, certainly in the Super League, the modern era, and your old boys, Lee Centurions, who are waiting in the wings. They go against Sheffield in the second semi-final, and you know, I mean, we touched upon it in our pre-match piece. You know what these occasions are like because you came up short 3 years ago against Widnes at home, and I was commentating on that with Leon Price, and I just remember the atmosphere and the drama and the theatre, and how much it meant to the players and the supporters to be involved in something like that.
Yeah, I was heartbroken, obviously, to be in such a game of that magnitude, and obviously I know Wembley was at stake that day, it was a heartbreaking, obviously, event for most of the league players in the league town. What I will say is that the 1895 Cup will also give a great opportunity, and what they're doing behind the scenes with the community game, all the amateur clubs, and try and get people around it. What the 1895 Cup has brought to the championship is an unbelievable decision from everyone involved. It gives players in the championship something to aim for, especially such a showpiece event. Also being at Tottenham this season is just a great reward for these players who've been playing in these leagues for years, and it's the ultimate reward for players who obviously put so much effort into their careers. Obviously not managed to crack the Super League level, but managed to have an unbelievable career in the championship and finish off with a showcase event in Tottenham is a just reward for all the hard work they put in.
So what kind of game is it going to be today? Both coaches indicating, looking at the sides they've selected, that it could be quite physical. Would you go along with that? Yeah,
certainly, and I think even towards the edge, obviously you got your Leilua and obviously Jared Stack opposite. It obviously points to an intriguing contest, especially with the amount of quality of what's on show today. Again, I've played here before in these sort of games, and it's a tough place to come. Again, all the crowd get on your back, and it's a bit of a mess, and you feel the pressure, especially as an away player. So I expect it to be close, especially early doors. I think in the end, Featherstone will have too much quality, probably the back end 15-20 minutes.
Well, let's see, speaking to Paul Crary, the Barrow Raiders head coach before the game, he was at pains to point out the absence of several stars and how stretched his squad is with round pegs in square holes. I do hope from a neutral point of view that they're not excuses early. Of course, Featherstone Rovers are the favourites, but I just feel like Barrow could give Rovers a game here today, as Ryan points out, with this vocal home crowd, which we made our way through to get up to the gantry. and the bright sunshine and just the sense of occasion with what is at stake, that trip down to London and the opportunity to taste the matchday experience of a big final and the facilities at Tottenham Hotspur. This is very much a big prize for everyone involved today. A reminder, Sheffield Eagles and Lee Centurions wait in the wings. That second AB Sundex 1895 Cup semi-final is also live and exclusive here on Our League, so do stay tuned. We'll bring that match to you live as well after the conclusion of this first instalment. If you enjoyed the triple header at Elland Road yesterday across the BBC, with St Helens pipping lead in a thrilling women's Betfred Challenge Cup final, and then the two crackers semi-finals, certainly the Wigan Saints game. What a win for Wigan. And how good were the Huddersfield Giants to topple Hull Kingston Rovers. Well, a similar prize on stake for these two sides as Featherstone wait in the tunnel on the far side to be led out by their skipper, James Lockwood. The 1895 Cup holders bidding to go back to the final and try and defend the Cup and make sure it remains at Post Office Road. Huge Barrow Raiders banner is out in the sunshine in the centre of the field as eventually the home side make their way up out of the tunnel on the far side. We're poised to go on Our League for Barrow Raiders against Featherstone Rovers. Live on Our League, the first semi-final of the AB Sundex 1895 Cup. A good feel around this Matt Johnson Prestige Stadium. Perfect conditions up in Cumbria. And an expectant crowd who the majority hope to cheer the home side down to London in 3 weeks' time for a place in the final. And here come the two sides. Rovers have been rampant, sweeping all before them in all competitions so far this season, under the stewardship of Brian McDermott, bidding for back-to-back knockout finals for the first time since the 70s, and looking to maintain their impressive form against Barrow. As we pause for the players to demonstrate their support for the Rugby Football League's Tackle It initiative against all forms of discrimination, including racism. And then we're ready for the action. As Featherstone peel away to our right, Barrow on our left. And I'm sure, Ryan Briley, that Barrow's head coach will have said, let's get off to a good start, let's get off to a big start, and remind them there's two sides here.
Yeah, that'll be obviously the team talk. I know you mentioned it early on, George, about using excuse, and I think that'll be the team talk. That no one gives us a chance today, and you're going to go up against the league leaders who obviously have been flying throughout the year. But again, it's a different competition, it's a different feel, especially when you're in these games what lead up to a final. A lot of emotion in the game. So, but you're right, the start is huge for Barrow. If they've got any chance of coming out with anything in the game, the start's massive.
Well, Jared Samet and all his experience will get us underway. First semi-final of the AB Sundex 1895 Cup. And Featherstone get the first feel of the football with Craig Kopchak running into traffic. And Rovers will start.
Hold. Go, one. Keep working that 10.
On their own 20-metre line. And already making big gains up the middle. Matty Wildy back in the side this week. Here's the skipper, James Lockwood. Wildy waits again and works it to Bussey up this near side. Ben Helliwell back in the side outside him. No Gareth Gale, he's got a broken hand. As Lockwood takes another strong carry. This will be the last tackle, 40 away. Wildy has a glance to see where Riley Jacks is. He'll find him down this near side, and Jacks with that wonderful left boot. It's gone off the outside of the boots into touch. First unforced error comes from an unlikely source in the boot of Riley Jacks. Ryan Briley.
I was just thinking, also watching Featherstone build up, and I understand also Brian McDermott's also been involved in some massive games in his career, also the success he had at Leeds, but there's a lot of pressure on Featherstone in this game. Also they've recruited really heavily, spent a lot of money, and the end result also being wanted to be in finals come the end of the year. So this is a huge game, as much for Featherstone as much as Barrow. So there's a lot of pressure on Featherstone to come up with a result here. Also they've got a great fan base come support them. This game's massive for Featherstone.
Yeah, that's one thing Paul Crary was keen to point out when I spoke to him pre-match. There's no pressure on his Barrow side. Oh dear. Well, there will be pressure on them defensively now because they've coughed up possession. First unforced error from the home side and one mistake apiece so far.
Yeah, also we spoke about Barrow also having a good start. Obviously second play to get the ball back on, just an unforced errors. They're the ones what will kill the coach Paul Crary. Also in terms of, you can talk about tactics and strategy as much as you want, but also just a stone cold drop like that. There's no influence the coach can have on them kind of errors.
So no opportunity to capitalise on that mistake from Riley Jacks, because the next possession Barrow make a mistake of their own. The big centre Joey Leilua with a strong first carry, and then John Davis. Home fans getting a little bit restless on the terraces beneath us. It's Junior Moores feeds Jacks, and then Carella joins in, and that normally spells danger. Helliwell. Carella waits from dummy half, quick pick up. And then it's Jacks once again, and Kopczak feints the offload and half through, right in front of the sticks with a couple to go this set. It would be Wildy to come back to this left-hand side. Jacks finding a bit of room, good swarming defence, but Bussey pushes out of it, goes out the back door. It's going to be play on with Junior Moores. Already danger. It's the last tackle. Wildy is the dummy half. Kopczak at point-blank range. Does he know it's the last? It will be the turnover, and Barrow, that will do their confidence the whole world of good.
Yeah, the first set also defend their own goal line. Just in terms of the chaos what Featherstone caused with their offloads and scrappy play, that from the untrained eye, that looks probably unplanned and messy, but Brian McDermott does coach that style. He does expect people to be there when an offload is made, so don't be surprised to see a lot more of that throughout the game.
Salford Red Devils fullback Ryan Briley with us for commentary in Barrow this afternoon. 0-0, early stages of the first semi-final of the 1895 Cup as the Raiders try and complete their first set of the ball game. Almost in touch down this near side. And Samet sweeps it back in field. A good carry up towards the 40. 2 to go this set. And it dissects Hall and Carella. Craig Hall, who surpassed 2,000 career points 7 days ago in the big victory over Widnes, will bring it back for Featherstone Rovers. That was Mark Carella. Recent signing, having departed Toulouse Olympique, just moved into his new place. He was sofa surfing with Tyler Heppy, he tells me. Tyler Heppy, actually the latest new signing from this big spending Featherstone side, as Wildy gives it to big Joey Leilua again, who pumps his way down the middle and carries 4 Barrow Raiders with him. Wildy seeing a lot of the ball as you would expect, gives it to John Davis. That little darting run is all the way through. Great footwork from Davis. How's the support? Not quite. Last tackle. They're stacking up on the right-hand side. If they can get the play of the ball quick, that's where they go. Towards the line is Smith. He's going to be just short again, but penalty for offside, and the pressure will come again.
It's a great set by Featherstone. John Davis managed to get his arm free, and all the kind of Barrow players kind of fell off him, so he managed to make a bit of a break, tried to go on the fullback. Great tackle by the fullback actually to stop the play, but obviously Featherstone got 6 players on the Barrow line. Featherstone looking really dangerous.
Lockwood. They're banging on the door early here. Brian McDermott's side. Wildy's got Kopchak to his left. He goes behind him, gives it to Smith, who dummies his way over and gets to the line and scores the first try. Morgan Smith for Rovers, who have a 4-0 lead.
I think Morgan Smith's having a great year, also Featherstone. I think just the bit of the shape what they threw at the Barrow right edge, and just like a little block-to-block shape, also people at the back, lead runners. And also Morgan Smith come at the back. I think he saw Jared Samet shoot out the back for Riley Jackson, held the ball, and was kind of an accidental dummy really, just because he didn't want to get his teammate smoked out the back. So also the dummy's managed to see himself fall over the line next to the post.
Yeah, he's finding some of the best form in his career just when he needs it most, really. Morgan Smith, he was part of the York City Knights side who made it to the 1895 Cup final and lost to Featherstone last year, although he was injured, so he didn't play, and he's found himself now at Featherstone. And as he gets himself into the side and finds his form, he's seeing half-back side, left, right and centre, with Carella and Pickerskill and Jonathan Ford still to come in. And it's almost like it's made him realise that I've got to perform here, otherwise I'm not going to have a place in this team.
Yeah, so obviously he's missed a lot of rugby league through his injury, and from what I will say about Morgan, he's played a lot of hooker in his time as well.
There's the 2, by the way.
So obviously he's really good defensively, really good at putting his body in front. So I think in terms of Brian McDermott's system, he knows he can trust him defensively. So that was probably a big part in his selection every single week. But the likes of the halfbacks who've left Featherstone recently or gone out on loan, obviously the likes of Tom Holmes, Dainches, and they're quality rugby league players. So to keep your place ahead of them guys is no mean feat. So he's having a great year, and obviously long may it continue for him.
7th try of the season for Morgan Smith. And an early lead, a deserved early lead for Featherstone Rovers. As Jared Samet gets the lime green kicking tee out once again. You sense he might be using a lot of that this afternoon. As he goes high, hanging, and here come Rovers again with Kopchak again taking the first carry up towards the 20-metre line. Junior Moore's already into position at first receiver, promoting the ball to his skipper Lockwood. Riley Jacks and Mark Carella already slicing through again. Where's the support? He's got Jacks back inside him. Here's the try scorer Smith, left to right, taking on the Barrow back line. Still going Featherstone, one end of the field to the other. Looking to go back to back. Wildy's got Moores. Jacks hanging back. Here he is, the scrum half. Carella again, loose one. Barrow could pick this up. It's knocked on anyway. It'll be Barrow ball. And a mistake from Featherstone.
Yeah, unlucky by Featherstone. Great break by Carella. Obviously that's what he's known for, his speed around the ruck and his guile, and he's also managed to get an offload obviously to Riley Jacks there and Morgan Smith on his outside. But just in terms of Barrow's effort area, I think they just look a bit flat, especially in terms of the semi-final. I just think they've lacked a little bit of energy, and Featherstone, I don't think Featherstone have started amazingly or on fire as such. I just think there's been a bit of a lack of energy from Barrow. That'll help.
Yeah, he got that wrong, didn't he? And the Barrow man has stayed down. Might there be more than a ticking off for Riley Jacks here? Certainly mistimed. He's grinning to himself as he walks back. He knows he got it wrong. I don't think there'll be any further words, will there, from the official? But that will help Barrow as Jared Samet looks for touch. And they'll be able to attack the Rovers line for the first time. 6-0 Featherstone. Morgan Smith's try. Craig Hall's goal, and Stack feeds Samet, and down the middle come Barrow with Ellis Gillam. First set in opposition territory. Josh Wood swinging it wide, and Sam Brooks has a look. Great opportunity for the Raiders. What can Jared Samet conjure here? Wood Back to Samet. No look pass, but no way through. But they're knocking on the door. 10 away. Can he go on his own? Josh Wood just short. Last tackle. Full back and half back, hang back. He looks to go on his own here. I'm not sure that's the option. Well, has he scored here? He's held up. Crowd wanted to try. Referee says no. And Rovers will survive.
It's not a bad set from Barrow. They've ended up on 5 metres away from Featherstone goal. And what I will say about Barrow's attack, it needs to be a lot more direct in terms of the pivot square, because notoriously Brian McDermott's teams recruit a slide defence, so it all comes from the inside. So what they want you to do is they want you to go towards the sideline and use the sideline as an extra defender. So they need to be square and hold that slide up. Otherwise, you'll just end up going to where they want you to go, which is over the sideline.
Ball's come free twice. That'll be play on Barrow ball. Ritson, can he get away? On the outside, yes he can. He's got toes, this guy. Ritson dancing off his wing. Still going. Beats Lockwood easily. Still going. How about this from Ritson? Still going, shows the dummy and gets clobbered. Craig Hall to the rescue. But it's a full set from here. Sparkling footwork from the Barrow winger. Samet, can they make this count now? Promoting the ball to the left-hand side. They've got a free man, and Briscoe reads it well. But a purple patch for the Raiders, this. They will set up again with Ryan Johnston pulling the strings at scrum half and inching towards that line once again. Josh Wood is the hooker. Back to Samet, who takes it. Steps towards the line. Samet inches short. Here's Johnson again. Ritson behind him and into touch. And Barrow want a finger on the ball, but I think they just got that wrong. And Featherstone will survive again. Touch judge might have a say here. I think it's going to be Barrow ball, you know. Touch judge says he's seen fingertips on this. And yes, Barrow get another set. What a chance.
Yeah, much better from Barrow, but it came from Jared Samet squaring up and actually taking the line and beating the slide, because what will happen is the defenders will come across your face and you'll end up getting half opportunities around the post areas. So a lot better from Barrow, but the pivots has got to carry on doing what Jared Samet doing and keep squaring, keep them off your inside foot, test them inside shoulders out of Featherstone.
Great opportunity for the home side. What a mess. Oh dear. What has happened there? Losing the ball out the back of the scrum, and Craig Kopchak, the biggest guy on the pitch, goes off. And here they come with Corella. What a mistake from Barrow. And Rovers, you know, could make them pay here. That was a huge error. Briscoe's on 99 career tries today. Here's Lockwood. Moores wants it with Wildy waiting to give him the ball. And they're offside, as Moore said about the Barrow defence. Not a good 60 seconds for the home side.
Yeah, really poor. So losing the ball from the scrum is criminal, especially when you get another set on Featherstone's line. So I think in terms of the transition-based areas, Featherstone will be a lot better because they've got better athletes on their side. So your Corellas, your Leigh Lewis, Craig Hall, they're too quick to have a transition period, so you need to control the game in the right areas, and unfortunately giving errors and turning the ball over, especially the loose ball over, is really dangerous for Barrow.
Well, they can't say they've not had chances early, the home side, but they're defending again. Here's the try scorer, Smith. His captain Lockwood was right on his shoulder. Wildy again, who's buzzing around early, didn't play last week, and he looks revived and energetic as Bossy bursts towards the line. Corella waits. The France international fullback to go on his own. Has Corella got there? I think he's held up, he is. And relieved jeers from the home fans. But you sense that may only be a temporary respite, because every time they get near the line, this Rovers side looks hungry. Kopchak and Moores lining up. It will be Kopchak this time, just to straighten up and lethargically stroll towards the line, and then Wildy picks up the pace, gives it to Jacks, who's been in brilliant try-scoring form. He's got 2 hat-tricks in the last 3 or 4 games as Riley Jacks, but that is the turnover, and Barrow have defended their line actually pretty well, Ryan Briley.
Yeah, I would say that. I think Featherstone's attack has been pretty patient, pretty composed, without kind of pushing the pass, especially in the good ball areas. I think they're quite happy to say to Barrow, well, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to come 100 metres to score a try. So I think Featherstone are well in control of the game, especially in the territory areas.
But on the scoreboard, just the single score separating the two sides. Morgan Smith's 7th try of the season for Featherstone. This guy looks in the mood, doesn't he? T. Ritson, when the two sides met at Post Office Road a few weeks ago, Ritson probably touched the ball 2 or 3 times all match in a thumping win, 58-6 for Featherstone. Riley Jacks, a hat-trick scorer in that game. This is the last, so they're going to need a big kick here. Drills it down the touchline. Does Ryan Johnston, and into touch around about the 20-metre line.
I think it's a smart play that by Ryan Johnston, obviously knowing that his team also defended his goal line there for a minute or so. I think in terms of them transition areas, you don't want to give Mark Corella clean kick returns where he can attack your fractured line. So smart play, just drill it in touch, and that's what I'm talking about in terms of controlling them transition areas, because Mark Corella, also Briscoe, Ryan, the two, sorry, Craig Hall, not Ryan Hall. Where got that from? Craig Hall.
It's because you were watching Ryan Hall at Elland Road yesterday.
Craig Hall. Obviously, they're too quick to be handing really dangerous ball over to. So smart play by the Barrow half.
Ryan Briley's voice on our league. Sidelined at the moment, Salford Red Devils fullback. How many broken ribs?
Can't tell you, you're a Leeds fan.
Oh, okay. You'll be back. You'll be back. I'm sure you'll be back soon. Here come Featherstone over halfway. Oh, they've had the tackle count wiped clean, so another 6 to go. Barrow springing out of the line. Oh, lovely offload, Junior Moores. Loves to play the ball, the big man. Wildy. Wildy goes. Still going. Is Matty Wildy still going? 4 to go, right in front of the sticks with Riley Jacks, Bussey outside him, and Helliwell tries to kick to himself. Is he tackled without the ball? No, and here goes Ritson. You don't want to give him too much room. Dancing away, Smith completing the tackle. He looks a danger, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's so quick, isn't he? As I watched him a couple of weeks ago, and just the amount of space he creates for himself. So not just is he quick, but he's evasive, he can move on the spot. He's a really dangerous player for Barrow.
Samet setting Barrow up again.
It's been quite evident from Barrow's attack. They're kind of attacking this left-hand side. Riley Jack kind of taking some energy off him and trying to shift the ball to left. But I think they're getting the most joy when they are staying direct, to be honest.
Ball promoted out to the back pretty well in the end from Ellis Gillen. Last tackle though. Samet takes it over his head and then kicks on halfway. Easy one for Mark Corella. He could put his slippers on and then bring that one back, and he a little dummy and then dances into the line. Approaching the midway point of this first half, still just the one score between the two sides, but Rovers looking the more likely to add a second. Wildy to Briscoe, in off his right touchline and pushes a couple out of the way, and a penalty coming Rovers' way, and there it is. So Barrow are going to be back defending their own line again.
Just looking at the body language from Barrow, there's a few people, especially in the middle areas, hands on hips, hands on heads. They're really struggling at the moment. So I think it's imperative Featherstone to stay direct and stay around the middle. Don't try and chase the edge, because while the space may seem there, it's just a bit of an illusion. So make sure they stay direct first, which they have been doing. There've been a lot of run plays, especially Wilder getting out from dummy half. He's been dangerous around that ruck area.
So here come Rovers once more with Wildy and then Lockwood. Setting up on the 20. Referee screaming at Barrow to get back the required 10s. Change of direction. Jacks to Moores, and suddenly this is opening up for Featherstone. No way through, but they're stacking up to the left. Wildy to Jacks. Can he go on his own this time? I think Barrow are there in number again to keep him out. They are. Held up over the line.
They managed to solve that quite well, Barrow, actually. They had the number down where they just kind of got off the line and trying to spoil any sort of play by Riley Jackson. So came up with a decent play to hold him up over the line.
Wildy and Lockwood linking up again, and Lockwood just falls to the ground in front of the sticks. This will be the last tackle. Morgan Smith is the man over on the right-hand side. What happened there? Well, it wasn't played, and that's another bad error, and this time it's a bad error from Featherstone, and Barrow will survive.
That was a must be, in terms of Barrow, that was a must defendable set. That they needed to be more, I'd say more patient in terms of how they kind of get up from them edges to spoil that Featherstone attack. They've been a bit impatient in time, trying to jump out the line, trying to spoil, but they was really composed and worked really hard for each other from the inside, so managed to stop a real Featherstone attack. And what I will say in terms of Featherstone, they've kind of gone away from the direct stuff. They're kind of finding few too many offloads what are not sticking. There's a lot of confusion around the ruck area around Wildy and Lockwood, so I don't know if there's a bit of complacency what's crept into Featherstone's game. Obviously, the panic will build for Featherstone. So Barrow, like what you said, George, as long as there's one score in it, they'll remain confident and remain they can get something out of the game.
And with Samet and Ritson in the side, they're a danger all over the park. Here they come again. That's Nathan Mossop off the bench wearing 9, and suddenly look where they are, Barrow. Last tackle, yes, but 30 away. Chance to put a good kick in here. Mossop, well, he just drills one into the corner. It's a decent place to turn it over. Briscoe will be grounded around about his own 10.
Really smart set from Barrow as well, just finishing the ball in the corner and making sure they come out of their own end, because ultimately if you invite Featherstone down your own 20 metres, you're going to concede a try eventually. So the further you can keep the ball away from your own try line, the better you will be, especially against this Featherstone side with the amount of quality they have.
So still just the one Morgan Smith try separating the two sides. Mark Carella looking lively for the visitors here, attacking the line at every opportunity. Bussey wanted to offload inside, keeps hold of the ball and then does offload. Not sure he wanted that, Ben Helliwell, but he spins away and he keeps going, and ankle tapped by Ritson on the last. It'll be Jacks, I'm sure, to kick. No, he just flings it to Smith, and they're going to run it. Featherstone with Davis, and then Joey Leilua, who will kick down. That's going to be too much. Oh no, it's perfectly weighted, but he steps away well. Does Luke Cresswell, and he's still going. Good game, this.
Really good. I think Barrow survived a 5-10 minute dangerous spell where Featherstone just seemed like they were going to creep on top in terms of territory, but they managed to complete a nice few decent sets. And I'll look to shift
this?
now.
Well, Ritson will want. Oh no, it was gift wrapped. Ritson wanted, but everyone in the ground knew where that pass was going, including Craig Hall, who strolls in for the easiest score of his career, and Rovers, just like that, go 10 clear.
The amount of tries Craig Hall has scored in terms of intercept, they've just got a really smart rugby league IQ. So Jared Stattles come down the short side. They've attacked this short side quite a while, and what I will say is they've got some success in terms of coming at Riley Jacks, obviously, in terms of putting the big men on a small half down this side. And the time when they actually had a 3v2, 2v1, you're expecting Ritson to go down the sideline, but also Craig Hall too smart, getting his big left palm out. Oh, it's unfortunate because obviously Ritson's away, but also that's a 6-point turnaround. It's a tough moment for Barrow, that.
Well, even early as we are, 23 minutes in, that just feels like a massive moment in this cup semi-final.
Just deflates you, George, especially when you're on the receiving end. Like, you kind of feel like you're kind of earning your right back into the game, and you can feel the swing turning, and you get a bit of loose play, quick ruck, and you feel like you're going to go down the other end and score. And yeah, an intercept really deflates you, and I'm sure Paul Carrera will be hands on his head at this moment in time. It's a real tough ask, that.
Craig Hall to convert his own try. He doesn't really miss kicks, Craig Hall. There we go. Knew that was going to happen. Craig Hall misses. And it's a 10-0 Rovers lead, as we have another look at the softest of scores. He just positioned himself in between the two. A little glance at the touch judge even to make sure he was all right. And a 10-0 Featherstone lead. Making a couple of changes, I think, the home side. Over on the far side, I can see Sam Brooks going off. So they're just freshening up the middle. Barrow. Deep kick into the corner, fielded by Bussey. Sam Essay is the big man on into the front row. Here come Rovers again. Well, Barrow need to try and get that one out of their brain, because they were having a decent patch. We were just saying how dangerous the Raiders were looking. And then out of nothing, they just gift that. It's almost like a snooker player with his inform and he misses and he sees the opponent clear up the points that he knew were his. You just got to forget about it and get on with the next frame and win that one. Here comes Davis. Then Wildy, and then Kopchak, who likes a pass. Not this time. Flattened, last tackle. Wildy, I'm sure, will come left and give it to Riley Jacks to put boot to ball. That's exactly what he does, and he picks his spot, does Riley Jacks, but he picks out the fullback. Taken on the full by Luke Cresswell, who has a little look, nothing really doing for him, so he will go to ground just beyond his own 10-metre line. And that's where most of the match has been played. That burned area of the pitch just beyond the Barrow 10 is where most of the action's taken place.
It just does look like, especially the last 2 or 3 minutes, just the energy has been sapped out of Barrow with that try. It does it in terms of, obviously on the scoreboard hurts you, but just physically and mentally drains you as well. Just in the emotion of the game, and just kind of just to drop a mistake like that to cost yourself a try. It's certainly damaging to you mentally and physically.
Well, that's nice. Link up play with Samet and then Cresswell and then Carter on the far side. Last tackle though, and they're only on their own 40, and he has to rush to get the kick away, does Ryan Johnston. Again, he's found a decent touch. That's clearly something they've discussed, drilling the ball down the side into territory.
Yeah, it'll be just to stop, obviously, Mark Carella's kick return. Obviously, we know how quick Mark Carella is, and the amount of tries he scored from them sort of scenarios. Obviously, you Luke Briscoe as well, and Craig Hall on the other side. They're really damaging runners, so the best way to stop that happening is to keep the ball out of play and get a set line. Obviously, get the ball in the middle of the field now. Set line with a full set of defenders within that line, and can kind of control them areas a lot more efficiently.
So 10-0 on the scoreboard. Barrow is still in this game. And that's good hunger in defence. Wildy though with a swift play the ball, and Bossy with a half break. Offloads, there he is. And it's Cooper off the bench with a little drive. Always a big impact, Luke Cooper. Wildy to Smith. And then Carella giving it to Joey Leilua. A bit of room for the big man far side. Running out of room though. Well, you're not going to get him into touch from there. Offloads out the back door. He's lost 10 metres there. Carella will scamper back, run across the line. Not sure Jesse Senalafeu wanted that. And eventually goes over halfway.
I think full credit to Barrow's left edge in Ryan Johnson and Ryan Shaw. They've done a real good job on Leilua. It's a damaging runner on that side, and to get that's probably the best way to handle is get numbers around, is get as many people as you can swarming him.
Essay on Kopchak, last tackle. Smith, a kick and chase to put Cresswell under pressure. Good take by the fullback, good chase by Briscoe and Smith. And again, Barrow will have to go from deep in their own territory. Rickson tries to buy a penalty. Speaking of Joey Leilua and also Jesse Senalafeu, Ryan, I was at the Rovers ground during the week doing a bit of filming in their gym just out the back of the stadium at Post Office Road, as Barrow come again down this near side. Eventually they will keep the hold of the ball this time and just about stay in the field of play. And Brian McDermott was there early before the gym session, and with Joey Leilua, so they got the boxing pads on and went at each other in the corner of the gym before the training. My God, I was scared.
Yeah, honestly, I remember when I was at Toronto, he used to do the same with Bodie and Thompson. I remember coming to the gym some mornings, and they were both there in the string vest, having a boxing match. So yeah, that was
the walls were shaking.
I think that was my time to leave, actually.
Yeah, Brian McDermott pumped up Joey Leilua with the boxing gloves on, going at each other in the gym at Featherstone.
Honestly, there'll be loads of stories, especially from the...
Oh, there's a knock on.
There we go.
And this is the chance for Barrow.
Huge.
And that's got the crowd back involved.
I said before the game, bring the emotion of the crowd into the game, because ultimately that's what Barrow need, especially being at the home ground. They need to bring the emotion, the fans into the game to get some sort of energy into the legs of of Barrow, because ultimately the game's been played in, like what you said, Jose, in the Barrow 20-metre line, but it's the first time they've been down this end for probably, 20 minutes, and I suppose the last time they was here was when they made the error at the scrum, so they can't make any errors down here now. They need to build some sort of pressure to stay down this end of the field.
Great opportunity on the half hour for the Raiders to strike from the base of the scrum with Samet. Good sliding defence, Featherstone. Cresswell was there. Mossop wearing 9 is the dummy half. Just Ritson outside him, so back in field he goes. And up the middle, Anthony Urea. Jesse Senolafeo completing the tackle eventually. Is there a set play from Barrow? Mossop wants a penalty. He might go on his own. Bounces out of a couple. Pops the ball up, but into a blind alley for Danny Morrow. 3 to go this set. Mossop again has a sniff of the line, but no. Samet, it's an awful ball. Bounces 3-4 times. Good, clean pick-up though. And still going. 2 to go in front of the sticks with Mossop. Samese. There he goes, the big man. Wants to get the ball away, he does. Little grubber kick through. Is he blocked? Has he picked up? Is he over? No, Rovers have diffused the danger. I think he's going to say knock on Barrow, is he here? And this will be Rovers' ball. No, he's giving Barrow ball, knocked on by Featherstone. So the pressure will continue. It is Raiders' ball. The crowd a little bit slow to react to that.
I just think in terms of set plays, probably are not going to be the one to break Featherstone. I don't think Barrow got the personnel to strip him with numbers as such. I think they're the type of players what will be more effective for Barrow. That the offloads, the little kicks in behind, trying to catch Matt Carroll out of position. Scrum plays will be a good one for him. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
Johnston, Cresswell. It was a little bit too directed, that play. The halfbacks were already in position far too early. SA running at Jesse Senolafeo. The big man's made a big impact. Grounded right in front of the sticks. Options right, options left. Mossop glances right, goes left. Frees up Johnston. Samet knocks on. And there goes the chance for Barrow.
I think a really good pressure by John Davis managed to come out the line and spook Jared Samet into an error there. I don't think the set play is the go-to. I think they've tried to pre-plan a play there, right to left, bring Samet out the back from the other side of the field, but John Davis too smart, jumps out the line, put pressure on Samet, and also forced an error there, and Featherstone have the ball back.
Well, Barrow have had chances here. Credit the Featherstone defence. Raiders have been unable to convert. And the visitors are running 2 scores of their own. What an absolute gift. A 12th try of the season for Craig Hall. That's a big hit. Illegal though. Penalty Rovers going against Mossop and Morrow. And they need to be extra vigilant, Barrow, that they don't let this lead and with it the game slip away before the half-time hooter.
Then these are the areas that hurt, and they also just come away from Featherstone line with no points and error, and then you kind of back it up with the penalty, and within a minute you're defending your own line again. It's tough, tough to watch, especially from Paul Curry's point of view. His Barrows at the moment letting themselves down.
First semi-final of the AB Sundex 1895 Cup. Sheffield and Lee go at it later. The prize is a place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in 3 weeks' time on Betfred Challenge Cup final day. Featherstone the holders. They beat York 12 months ago with Craig Hall, player of the match that day. They sense blood here before the hooter at half-time with Wildy. Smith to his left, Davis to his right. Here is Morgan Smith. Reverse ball to Kopchak. Change of direction from Wildy. Senolafeo darting at SA, slings it out of the back door, picked up by Karelov, and this is danger. Good sliding defence from Barrow. Wildy's got Jacks to his left, Smith back to his right. Kopchak had overrun that. 2 to go. Bussey's looking interested near left. But they go back and find Jacks, and then Smith, and then Corella, and then beautifully moved to Briscoe to walk in his 100th career try. Wonderfully worked from Rovers. Could be a game-breaking score. It's 100 up for Luke Briscoe, and Rovers have daylight here in Barrow.
I know it won't seem like much, but the work Riley Jacks did after the play before, I think he had 4 attackers on each side, and the defenders brought five defenders over and unselfishly turned the ball away from his side to go to the other side to Morgan Smith, which created a number to be pulled away from the left-hand side, which meant they got him on the next play with a simple 3v2 with Mark Corella hitting Briscoe on the chest. But the skills shouldn't be underestimated. Also, it's gone block play out the back to Riley Jacks, then to Morgan Smith into the line, Corella at the back, and a missed pass also hit Briscoe on the run to get his 100th career try. So Briscoe's a great finisher. Listen, he didn't have to do much for that try, but still he's got to catch the ball under pressure. But the skill level from Corella should never be underestimated. What it takes to hit him on the chest when you've got players in your eye line, in your face. So it's got all them good fullbacks hit them on the chest. So that's why I never do it, George. Just think into their attack, Featherstone. They're in their midfield. There's a lot of offloads and a lot of carnage, a lot of chaos, which Mark Corella loves. He gets Craig Hall involved. He gets obviously Morgan Smith running, Matty Wilde running. But when they become into their 20, any sort of set play really troubles Barrow. So for me, he just has.
He knocks over another one.
I just think for me, George, that's probably the game's probably a bit too far for Barrow now. I think they've never really looked troubling in terms of when they've had the ball in Featherstone's. But on 20, on 30, and Featherstone look really dangerous. So I think the game's only leaning one way. I know it's probably premature to say it, but I just think I can't see any way Barrow get themselves back into the game and get themselves a result out of this.
Ruthlessly efficient from Featherstone Rovers so far. Another look at Briscoe's score. 72 for Featherstone, 8 for Hunslet, and 20 for the Rhinos.
I know we'll speak about Luke Briscoe's tries, but I think what he does out of backfield in terms of his tough carries, he's so hard to put down, gets his strong base, his brother's the same. Tom, they get the strong base out, the hips are so strong, and the amount of times he gets stood up in the tackle and you can't put him to floor is madness, really.
13th of 2022 for Luke Briscoe, 100 up, and a real stranglehold now for Featherstone Rovers before half-time. 3 minutes to go. What I've seen them do several times this season is when they score just before half-time, and that affects the opposition, they actually go and do it again.
I was just about to say, this is a dangerous period for Barrow. I think Featherstone, like we used to, they smell bloodier, so don't be surprised to see Corella around the ball. A few set plays, also trying to test them lazy middles out who are getting a little bit tired now.
This is what Rovers do. They hit you just before half-time, and when you're shell-shocked, they'll hit you again before the hooter. They've got time with 2 minutes to go until the break, and they could really kill the game here as Davis on the burst, powers through. Brilliant defence essay, had to be. Try saver.
Did really well there, 100% try saver.
Jacks on the last, dinks one up. Cresswell's there first, he's not put a foot wrong all match. Bussey was there to hit him.
Really composed by Jacks. Also, when there's chaos in the game, it'd be really easy to jump on board with that enthusiasm and try a little chip kick, something a little bit stupid. But he's just been really composed in putting Cresswell in some tough spots where Barrow has to come 100 metres away from their own line again.
Well, it's frightening to think, looking at this slick machine in the halves that is now Morgan Smith and Riley Jacks, that Jonathan Ford comes in here somehow and somewhere.
Luxury to have, isn't it?
Well, I've no idea how that works, because actually Ford and Jacks kind of play the same side, don't they? Ritson, that's come off Hall, that will be a knock-on. That'll be brought back. And I think Hall knows that. He didn't really want to carry on running, did he?
No. Well, I will say, I think he's really unfortunate. He could have, to be fair, if Craig Hall was a good liar, he could have said it was a charge down.
Yeah.
But I think
gave himself up
quite easily there. But yeah, you're right. I think when Jonathan Ford comes into this team, there's a huge headache to have for Brian McDermott. But again, I don't think he's going to lose any sleep over it, is he? I think he's quite calm and composed.
Well, he loves it. Don't forget.
Exactly.
Don't forget when Brian McDermott signed Mark Corella, a month or so ago. He had in Brandon Pickerskill, probably the best fullback outside of Super League. And Pickerskill's responded well. Yes, he's not in the side today, but he's been playing. He's been on and off the bench, in the wings, in the halves. He's responded really well, so I'm sure we'll see that through whoever in the halves is most at threat from Jonathan Ford's arrival.
And ultimately, George, there's an array of quality there. And there has to be a first choice somewhere, so it's just all part of sport. Again, Pickersgill got plenty of time on his hand, and he's an unbelievable player, and will have a real successful career at a higher level. Also, I do believe he will play Super League in the near future, but the likes of Matt Curley, you can't turn down them opportunities to sign players like that, and especially with Jonathan Ford. I think, again, I don't think Lee needed him, if I'm honest.
Here goes Ritson, just gets tapped.
In terms of the Lee score, I was very sceptical of Lee, thinking they might need him, but I think they've done the right thing. I think they're quite steady with what they've got there, and it's a real shootout there, isn't it, between Lee and Featherstone. Can't wait to see how that unfolds.
Blow for blow, on and off the pitch. SA, can Barrow find a score on the hooter? He's been great, hasn't he, the big man, since he came on?
Real good impact off the bench.
We're right on half-time here. What Barrow would give for a 4 or a 6 here to take into half-time. Johnston on the last. There's traffic there, it's tapped backwards. Should we play on for Ritson? Can he pick it up? Well, he's got nowhere to go. Well, it's an ugly end to the set, really. A clean take there would have been a try, you know. But Featherstone defend their own line. And they're going to get to half-time with their line unbreached. Featherstone. Bussey looking for the offload. Carella at dummy half. Hall and a knock-on from the try scorer Briscoe. Plenty of the fans making their way to the bars and the food stalls. And that's the hooter. A first half that presented opportunities for Barrow, but ultimately a very, very professional job from the favourites Featherstone, who lead at half-time by 3 tries to 0 and 16 points to 0. Ryan Briley.
Yeah, I think Featherstone will be quite disappointed if they've not managed to post more points in terms of how dominant they've been in the game. I think Barrow, they're competing hard enough. I just don't think they've got enough quality to break this Featherstone side down. I think they're well-oiled, well-drilled in terms of how they go about their defensive structures, and they don't really seem trouble at the moment in time. So he's going to need some magic from Paul Carrera to get this Barrow team back into the fight and give themselves something to go at in the second half.
Let's have a look at the tries from the first half. That was all about Morgan Smith. Little dummy, and then through on his own. And it was the second try early that felt like the game breaker, even early on.
Yeah, and more mentally than anything else. I know it hurt on the scoreboard, but when you feel like you're, because obviously Ritson's down the sideline, then it's probably a try for Barrow, and they go 6-all. But obviously on the back end of that, obviously Craig Hall gets an interception there, just puts a dagger in the hearts also all the Barrow fans, especially down that side there where they're all there cheering the Barrow team on. Just unfortunate. Obviously, he gets the ball in some good space. A really good transition from Barrow. Also gone left to right with a bit of a shift play to get the numbers on Featherstone. It's the first time I've seen Featherstone strip with numbers. Also, and what I will say about Craig Hall and Brian McDermott, I remember also being in Brian McDermott's system, and he does teach his wingers to get in between also player and ball and put himself in that situation where you come up with intercepts. Obviously, Ryan Hall at obviously OKR now was at Leeds. He was really good at it. Also putting himself in the picture and just putting himself in a sideways position where you can't kind of hit that winger. So again, we'll all talk about interception tries, how lucky and how well read also from the defender. But it is smart coaching as well from Brian McDermott. He does coach that style and that structure for his wingers to come up with intercepts.
Yeah, that was beautifully worked for Briscoe to score try number 100 of his professional rugby league career, and it gives Featherstone a very, very comfortable lead at half-time. Barrow have had their chances, don't count them out, but this resolute Featherstone defence has really given nothing away. Half-time scoreline, and we'll be back in good time for full live and exclusive coverage on Our League of the second half of this first AB Sundex 1895 Cup semi-final. But half-time here in Barrow has the Raiders trailing. Barrow 0, Featherstone 16.
Sheffield. Is it opening up for Dean Chisholm?
A unique twist to Rugby League's big day, the fireworks go.
So that's the prize that's up for grabs.
The energy and noise of a big Rugby League occasion.
Willsby back on the inside.
Has support from field, bursts on and scores.
Sam Ward will score. And he goes straight through the middle. Has Laura Haig on the pace. Races away. Waddle for the line. Richard Cooper. Wow. Briscoe is in. And Thackeray's away. Oh, what a finish.
Here come Featherstone, second half on the way, 40 minutes from London. I keep wanting to say 40 minutes from Wembley, not this year, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And Featherstone and Barrow will go at it for 40 more. Rovers in the box seat. Have the Raiders got much left? You do fear for them the way the first 40 went. And of the 14 games that Featherstone Rovers have played so far this season, 5 of them have seen them reach half-time with the opposition on nil. There's a stat for you. So over a third of their games, they keep their opponents to nil at the break. That's what this Barrow Raiders side are up against today. Is there any way back for them? 3 tries behind. Mark Corella on the kicking tee will get us back underway. Live and exclusive on Our League. Featherstone with 1 foot in the AB Sundex 1895 Cup final. Barrow bringing it back from right to left, wearing the solid blue with white trim, blue shorts, blue socks. Featherstone in their change strip of the metallic sky blue and white trim. And the tries from Smith, Hall and Briscoe, 2 from 3 from Craig Hall's boot, gives Featherstone this 16-0 lead going into the second half. Samet. And they're going to be kicking from around about the 40-metre line again here. Last tackle, says our referee, Mr. Grant. And Mossop will pick his spot, just dink one up. The big fella Sam Essay's after this. And it's brought back by Corella and he wins his side. A penalty.
Really poor kick by Mossop in the end. I think they got a quick play ball where the halfback needs the ball in his hand early. Also, Jared Samet was screaming for the ball to put the ball in the corner, especially when we talk about people like Corella picking little chip kicks up, obviously hurting you in the middle of the field. Straight away, you're defending your own. I know people say also it's the penalty what's going to put them there, but the fractured line also creates desperation around Corella, which means it's going to be an unorthodox tackle, and obviously managed to slip up high there, so it's a penalty. But just really poor kick option from the Barrow hooker.
And an opportunity right at the start of the second half for Rovers probably to kill the game. Wildy to Lockwood. The skipper flings it to Smith and Corella, who's so dangerous attacking the line. Leilua outside him. Jesse Senna-Lefeu says, I'll have this. I might not have the next one. Over the head of Morgan Smith. Lockwood picks it up. I think that was the beginning and end of his hooking career. Wildy says, this is how it's done. As he takes over, really slow play the ball. That's more like it. Gives it to Corella off Jacks, and then attacking the line is Davis. Is he over, Davis? I think he might be in the corner, and Rovers have started with a try right at the start of the second half to extend their lead to 20 points to nil.
Really smart play. Also, I don't want to go too in depth at the moment, but obviously the Barrow fullback ended up getting his numbers wrong. He had 5 on the other side of the field when they only needed 4, which created a bit of space and a bit of an overlap, obviously, on Barrow's right hand side. Obviously, John Davis managed to go over for 4 points. But for me, it goes back to that poor kick option by Mossop, obviously the Barrow hooker. Obviously, he had plenty of time to give Johnston or Sam at the ball and get a nice, decent kick away into the corner. But a little chip kick causes havoc. Corella picks up the ball in the full and managed to get a penalty. And the defending their own line off the back of it. But we spoke in the first half about Ryan Johnson's kicking game in drilling into touch, because that's what happens if you don't. That's what happens if you give fast fullbacks a fractured line, a broken field. That's what they thrive upon. So for me, you just need to be able to get your last plays better from Barrow's point of view, and give your kickers the ball in the hand early with no pressure, so they can get a good kick away.
That feels like it could be curtains for Barrow. Hall's missed one so far, and he still missed one. 22 points to nil. 4 tries to nil. 3 from 4 from the boot of Craig Hall. And in the Barrow sunshine, it's Featherstone flexing their muscles for another trip to the final of the 1895 Cup.
I thought we spoke off air, didn't we, George? It was a really difficult period for Barrow, and they need to probably just stiffen up their attitude and their energy levels here, because it could get a little bit messy for them.
Samet goes high this time. Slight misjudgment from Smith, but he backtracks and collected on the boundary like a fielder and gave it to the big fella Kopchak to drive in. Big lead now for Featherstone right at the start of the second half. This is Jesse Senna-Lafayette. He's well aware of what it means to wear this Featherstone Rovers jersey after his move from Castleford Tigers, and here they come again, Carella and Davis, the two who created the try, linking up once more. And the crowd really subdued now. I think they're fearful of what might be about to happen over the next half hour or so. Featherstone have put some very good teams to the sword so far this season, including a few weeks ago Barrow at Post Office Road, a 58-6 scoreline. Last tackle, Wildy to Smith. They're going to run this one. Senna-Lafayette throws an intercept pass. Now then, Carella's back, and I'm sure we'll get there. Great tackle, Mark Carella, and Briscoe completes the job.
Big turning point in the game. Again, that was a try at the other end, similar to the Craig Hall situation.
Here goes Carter looking to win his side a penalty. I think he thought one of the guys was offside and ran at him, but the referee said no, he was all right. They want the tackle count wiped clean. Crowd getting restless. This is Barrow's chance. Down the middle they go with Anthony Uria. Mossop trots in to take over at dummy half. Got Sam Esse, the big man, on his left. Goes right to Samet to trot into the line, and Cresswell joining in. They're running out of room far side. And there's no way through. Samet again. Slings it back to Mossop, and then Sam Esse, who will just pick out Jesse Senna-Lafayette. Last tackle. Mossop to Johnston. Oh, almost overran it. He's going to be held up over the line on his back, I think. Uria here. But a better attacking passage from the hosts.
They're the players, especially around them, because we spoke about earlier about the slide defence from Featherstone. They want you to go to the sideline, so them plays in around the post, the short balls, the direct plays around them post areas, they're the ones what will get Barrow probably the most joy.
So Featherstone starting right on their own line. This will be interesting to see what kind of gain they can make over the next 6. As Briscoe's grounded. And Leilua wanted it, but they go the other way. And Lockwood running at Sam Esse. He's probably been Barrow's best player, I would say. There come Featherstone again. The crowd here beneath us wanted a forward pass. It's taken by Brett Ferris, another grand final winner, with the Rhinos, as Carella is just pulled back round his neck as he tried to break through. Last tackle on halfway. Riley Jacks with a left boot. He'll kick and chase himself. No real pressure on Cresswell, and he's able to give it to Carter. And T. Ritson, who had a lively first half hour or so.
I'd probably look at bringing T. Ritson into the middle of the game just to try and get a bit more energy around that middle and a bit more pace, just a bit of broken field. Obviously, you feel like he's a little bit wasting the wing, don't you? Obviously, if he's on the wing all the game, he just doesn't really feel like he has much ball. 40-20 attempt from Samet.
Yeah, Samet spotted a gap. He's gone 40-20, and the bounce is good. Great kick from a great player. 40-20 Jared Samet, and suddenly a chance for Barrow to hit back.
Really smart kick from Samet. Obviously, noticed that. Also, Briscoe was up in the line, real big open space there. Also, Carella was marking Samet on the other side. So, real smart play from Jared Samet. Let's see what they can do with this set of 6 on the Featherstone line.
Well, you feel they have to score. And here they come, attacking the line from the first play. No way through for Tom Hopkins. Johnston flings one, and Esse. Oh, how did he get the offload? Johnston again. Have they got numbers for Ritson to dance in field? Still going Ritson. Bounces off a couple. What a try that would have been. How about the collision and the offload from Sam Esse? Tackle count wiped clean. Samet towards the line and pops it up, and they do score. Dan Toll gives Barrow hope.
I said also that the set before there, the plays around the post areas, was a bit of chaos from the offload off the Esse. I think you're right. I think he's been Barrow's best player since he entered the field.
But especially them plays around the post and little short balls around the post, because they have a slide defensive system, they end up sliding past the balls. If Samut's noticed that, gone right into the teeth of the line, put Toll off his shoulder. Look here, right to the line there, sliding off Samut into that hole. Any short ball around the post cause that defensive system real problems.
That's going to be a 6-point try right in front of the sticks. So perhaps they're not done yet, Barrow. But they need to mount some sustained pressure off the back of that score. It was a much better passage of play. Really opened things up the way the big man, Sam Esse, took that collision and managed to offload out of the contact almost instantaneously.
Well, what it does do, Joy, it creates chaos around the middle area, so he managed to get an offload, got the ball to T. Ritson, again, he uses his pace, his dial to cause a bit more chaos, and then Samut uses his smarts off the back of it to put a nice little short ball by the post. But they're the plays what are going to cause Featherstone the most trouble, them off-the-cuff plays and the mad-lib plays, not the most structured plays in the world.
Here's Samut to make a 4 of 6. And he drills that one out. That's gone out of the stadium. I don't know where you parked your car, Ryan.
Should be all right.
Yeah.
Should be all right. Well, I'm at the back of the stand.
Having seen the tank that you drive, I'm sure that...
I didn't get VIP treatment like you over there. Move the cones out for you.
Here's another look at the try. Samut into the line, short ball. There's a missed tackle. Who was it from Featherstone who missed the tackle there? Anyway, it was point blank range and they're over. 22-6. Tell you what, if they can score next, Barrow, this game could be still in the balance. Corella puts a bit of slice on that with the right boot. Up towards the 10. Oh, it's an awful ball. Deary me, taken on the half volley.
Listen, I don't like the execution of the play, but I like the idea. They're trying to shift the ball, they're trying to get away from them middle areas with Featherstone where they've been so strong and dominant. So again, they're probably changing the transcript a little bit to be a little bit more off the cuff, a bit more ad-lib, and just try and get this Featherstone team moving around the field.
And they're bringing this guy into play as much as they can. Another offload from Sam Esse, and Samut picks it up, and off they go down the far side. Ritson. Oh dear. Well, he didn't know where he was. He thought he was flinging it backwards. He's flung it forward. It's going to be a knock-on and halfway. And the less said about that 2 or 3 tackles, I think the better.
That's the consequence you get also with shifting the ball. If you don't get it right and your skill level's not good enough, you do end up going over the sideline and creating errors. So again, this team's also across the country who play an expansive style. Obviously ourselves at Salford, as Hull KR, they have an expansive style as such, but the execution got to be right, because also we've learned in our games if our skill and execution isn't right, it lands us in some real trouble. So what I will say as well is that style can't just be implemented over a half-time team talk. You have to train that way. So if Barrow don't train that way and create a blueprint for themselves, and all of a sudden they want to try and play that way, it becomes really difficult halfway through a game to turn into a real expansive offload team, which is going to cause trouble. So it's tough times.
Barrow hanging on at the moment as Featherstone come again. Jackson, Corella and Davis has knocked on, I think. Yes, he has. He tried to rescue it with a little kick through, but he'd already gone to ground. Knock on Davis. So a bit of a messy passage of play from both sets of players here.
Same kind of play what kind of got him the try in the opening minutes of the second half, but just didn't get the execution right. I think probably John Dave's not known to be a left centre, that's for sure. So bit out of position, but again, they just look threatening every time they have the ball. Featherstone, when they got Corella sweeping out the back, he's got pace to burn out, and people have to account for him because he runs at pace, which is real difficult to defend, especially for that Barrow right edge.
Well, they can't afford to clock off here, Featherstone, not least because this Cup semi-final isn't won yet, but also because of the competitive nature of this squad. They're all playing for places in the final if they get there.
Yeah, and what I will say is Brian won't want the bad habits to creep in. He knows that there's bigger games than this in the season. Obviously, you likes of your league games coming up, and he knows he's going to get tougher tests than this one, but this is where your habits are built on, and when things are a little bit scrappy, a little bit messy in terms of who you're playing against, and penalties like that, because against the better teams you won't get away with these penalties, and Brian McDermott will be really filthy on his team for being so ill-disciplined in them areas.
It's gone a bit sloppy this from Featherstone Rovers. An opportunity perhaps for Barrow to get themselves a foothold back into this game. They have the 6 points on the board. Dan Toll's try converted from Jared Samet, the referee not ready for a restart. But if Barrow can score next, who knows? Samet and Esse, they're the two men making it happen at the moment. Mossop is the dummy half. He's got options on his left. Anthony Uria wants it. He goes behind him and Samet picks it up, but he's already in traffic. Just overran that play a little bit, the Raiders. Mossop will go on his own from dummy half and then slings it back in field to Uria, who offloads and Cresswell knocks on, and these are the opportunities that Barrow have to take.
It's so hard because they're the players what do cause Featherstone the most trouble, but there's an element of risk when you're doing that, so it's a bit of a risk and reward type scenario, and also they're not getting that balance right at the moment, but you can't not the idea, because that's what kind of got them the try in the first place, like a couple of minutes ago with Esse's offload. So it's just an element of execution which is letting, I suppose, both teams down in these probably last 5-10 minutes. The level of execution has probably let both teams down.
But the key to having to force it and make the offloads like that, and I heard Martin Afire speaking about, actually it was in the build-up to your game at Wigan, which was on Channel 4, and the brilliant feature they did with Martin Afire, and he said the key to a lot of his tries were always expecting a bad ball, always expect a bad pass, because that way you're not going to be taken by surprise and put one down. If you're always expecting there's going to be a bad pass, you're ready for it.
Yeah, well this is why I think Brian McDermott won't be happy with the way kind of this first period, the second period has gone, just because I know they practice a lot of that type of stuff. Also being at Toronto with him, they practice picking loose balls up off the floor, they practice being messy, bounce passes, all that kind of stuff, because they're the players what are really probably impossible to defend. Because you can't plan for them. So you're right, Joe. You have to be around the area. You need to know and understand how to pick loose balls, because it's not an element of luck.
Now then, was it first knock on? What's he done? Penalty, Featherstone Rovers. A couple of knock-ons in there, but then Barrow have been penalised, presumably offside. Morgan Smith will just pop it into touch on this near side, and some pressure coming for Barrow's defensive line.
He's just underneath us, George, but he's massive, that Leilua, isn't he?
Oh, he's huge.
He's
yeah,
massive.
Here they come, quick play of the ball, and straight through the line goes Bussey. Bussey towards the line. Wanted support, couldn't find it. Wildy, there are options here. Wildy just pops it up, and Brett Ferris walks through. And that will probably be the score that gives Featherstone the win and a place back in the final of the 1895 Cup.
Really smart by Matty Wildy. Also, I know the break came from Bussey on the short ball for the lead, but everything was going to Matty Wildy's left, and it had been really easy to go that left with all the pressure. Also, Riley Jacks, Morgan Smith went over there. We just saw a little bit of a gap near the post for Brett Ferris to walk through untouched. So yeah, the play, also a great line by Brett Ferris, but real smart by Matty Wildy, noticing that little bit of space near the post there. But you're right, Joe, I think that's probably game done. It's for me, Featherstone, as much as they've not been outstanding, that they've been efficient and found a way to win. And what I said before the game, this is a real tough place to come, especially with the fans and the emotion getting involved. So there's been a real good job done by Featherstone. It's not going to be a walkover when you come to these places. So alongside when Lee also come here, it won't be easy for them. But I think the right teams are at the top of the table in terms of Featherstone and Lee, that they've got the best amount of quality. And what I will say in both clubs, and especially being at Lee last year, I know they do a lot of stuff right off the field, as well as Featherstone. Obviously, all the junior team involved. So both teams obviously had great value. And also my own experiences at Lee, the women's team, the obviously PDRL team, what they're kind of setting up now. Both teams are creating a massive amount of value to Super League. So in terms of this game, they have to get through these stubborn contests also to earn that right. But what I will say is that both teams are the top of the table, are doing the right things off the field as well.
So 28-6. And we've got a shade over 20 minutes to go, approaching the final quarter of the game. Very deep kick-off from Samet, taken off balance from Morgan Smith and brought back first carry from the captain Lockwood.
Come on, Ryan. Hold.
And here's one of 5 different try scorers today, Luke Briscoe. Briscoe, Hall, Smith, Davis and Ferris for Rovers. And here goes Matty Wildy. Smith feeding Davis. Couple to go this set. Might kick early with Riley Jacks. Well, they can't because it's a poor ball. Ferris gives it to Lockwood and they'll set up centre field. Riley Jacks is going to give it to Bussey to kick. Decent kick as well, turning the full-back around, Luke Cresswell. The chase is good, so he's got nowhere to go. Barrow are penned in their own 10.
Really good play by also the Featherstone left edge. Also, Riley Jack's done most of the kicking throughout the game. Got a little bit of pressure and also managed to do a bit of a two-pass to Jack Bussey, who likes to kick. He'd have loved that when the ball came to the last tackle, so put it in the corner, which was a great kick. He's highly skilled, Jack Bussey. He's got an array of talent in his armoury, and managed to put a kick in the corner and made Barrow come out his own 10 again, which it seemed like they've done for the most of the game.
There goes T. Ritson. Not seeing much of the ball. Sense he got a bit bored there and tried to make something happen for himself. Samet.
You're right, Joe. Like I said about T. Ritson, bringing him into the middle of the field, because I think for me he's wasted out there on the wing, just kind of taking the ball every odd couple of sets, but need him around the action and get him on the ball.
Johnston's gone right into touch, I think, here. Yes, he has. Miscalculated by 2 or 3 metres. Mark Carella just watched it into touch, so the error's starting to come with increasing frequency from the home side. There's
That's right.
One man limping out there. I think that's Sam Brooks who's got a problem.
Same kind of scenario from the first minute of the second half, where they got a quick play the ball and managed to get a quick ruck, and they managed to do a little chip kick from Moss at the 9, where that was probably the wrong play. They should have given the ball because they had a lot of space and time where they can get the perfect kick away. This time they do get the ball on a short side, and there's a massive amount of numbers down his right edge for Featherstone and a heap of pressure, and that's what causes the ball to go out on the full. So just as last play selection from both hookers when they've been on the field for Barrow have been pretty poor, and also has let the Barrow halfbacks down.
Jacks, Bussey, Carella, Hall far side. Lightning attack from Featherstone, but good sliding defence Barrow, and Rovers are in touch.
Really well saved by Barrow. Look, to try for all ends up, didn't it, with Craig Hall obviously out the back there, but the speed of play from Carella at the back is frightening. Obviously, you don't know whether to come up and shut him down or try and mop off and get their inside defenders to work hard for you. The level of skill that guy has got, and we spoke earlier about the situation in regards to the Featherstone fullbacks. They've got obviously two of the best fullbacks outside the Super League with Carella and Pickersgill. They've got an array of talent. So I just think in terms of the Featherstone squad, they've got a great squad, and it's nice to see them competing again after a tough couple of years.
Big hit on Carter. Ran into Junior Moores and Jesse Senna-Lafeu. Two big Samoans. It's Ferris and Lockwood completing the tackle. Barrow asking for the tackle count to be wiped clean, but referee saying no chance. Last tackle. So where will Samet go? Runs into the line, drills over the top. It's a good kick, that, you know. Oh, Carella's ice cool. Cucumber cool from the Frenchman, who gets Rovers away, and now it's Hall. Ritson's after him. Smith's in support. Hall flings a wonderful pass for Leilua, but he can't get there. The big man will scamper back, offload to Jesse Senna-Lafeu. What a score this could be. Eventually Connor Jones says, let's just regroup.
The Barrow fans are giving the Leilua some stick on this side.
Jesse Senna-Lafeu. Wonderful passage of play. Here's Jones. He's got Morgan Smith on his left shoulder. He just takes it up on his own and then flings it to Lockwood. And the captain belly flops in front of the sticks, 20 away. Jones has got Jacks on his left, goes on his own again, then gives it to Riley Jacks, who swings it back to Ferris, who just pops it up nonchalantly. And then a penalty against Featherstone. Was there an obstruction? What's the referee seen there?
I didn't see much. I think Featherstone plays a
yeah, they're asking.
It confuses me and you.
James Lockwood are asking, what was that for, sir? Let's have another look. Ferris runs, well, it must be for the obstruction. Running behind Connor Jones.
Ball by the.
Should we call that a 28-6 up call?
Yeah, the rule book call, I suppose, but yeah, it didn't obstruct.
But he gave himself up. He knew he was potentially obstructing, so he made no. There was no. He wasn't impinging on the play at all. Either way. So Barrow have the opportunity. Here come Barrow down the middle.
Yeah, it was forward.
Forward pass.
Just probably gone to a period where Featherstone is managing the game a little bit. I think they know the job's done. Just managed to see if they can see the game out in a professional manner. Barrow looking very tired. Just managed to kind of making stuff up at the moment. Little passes here and there and offloads out the back door. And it's been a tough day for him.
Here goes Hall. Riley Jacks. Smith bounces out of a couple. Mark Carella. Well taken by Leilua, and Briscoe's off for another one. Back inside, Carella will score! And that will do it. Twinkle toes from the Flying Frenchman, and Mark Carella will book a return trip to London as Featherstone go back to the 1895 Cup final.
Really smart play initially by Carella. Obviously, he's noticed there's a massive four in front of him, so it's 4v4 but in a huge space. And just his deception, obviously, people probably wouldn't have thought he was going to get the ball on this short side. But what it does with his pace and when he gets on the outside of people, it brings people turning into him, which creates space on the outside, where obviously for Leilua to put Briscoe down the sideline. But I know obviously Leilua gives the offload to Briscoe, but the smart play by Carella initially to take the big space and the 4v4 what was offered on a table for him. I think that was the key area in that play, in Carella having his eyes up, but using his deception, not screaming and shouting for the ball to make it obvious he's going to take the ball on, but just that smart behind the ruck and that nice deception around the back of that to get the ball in space and put himself in a real good position to give Leilua the ball and put Briscoe down the side. I think Briscoe could have probably scored himself, but managed to put the ball back inside to Carella to get his first try of the game.
And Hall tags on the 2. So it's a 34 points to 6 lead. 5 from 6 from the boot of Craig Hall.
In position. In position.
(34-6). With around about 13 minutes to go as Moores takes it up the middle. There goes Connor Jones. Hit by Brad Krellin. There's the try scorer, Carella, and John Davis, another try scorer. 6 different try scorers, Featherstone today. Lockwood, and Smith, and Jesse Senna-Lefeo. Such an elusive runner. Last tackle. Smith has got Jacks outside him. They're going to run it again. Bussey will kick, I'm sure. Outside of the right boot. Another lovely weighted kick. Look where it lands. Perfect.
Again, real smart. Also, most of the game, obviously, Bradley Jacks has kicked the ball, but the last couple of sets have kind of 2 pass shifting, landing, but end up in the corner. Probably because of the conditions, but they're not. Also, with the wind and stuff, probably quite hard to be an accurate kicker, especially when the wind's against you. So they've just managed to turn it into more of a running play and finish in the corner. But the cycle's been really good from Featherstone. They've turned the ball over in the right areas pretty consistently throughout the game.
Have Barrow got anything left? They're throwing the ball around, but Featherstone looking absolutely no mood to allow them anything more than the 6 they have already. Johnston, big hit in centre field from the captain Lockwood. Last tackle this as well, they've barely gone 30. So Johnston will drill. Jesse Senna-Lefeo knew nothing about that. That'll be play on. They'll have another go. Mossa, awful kick. Sliced off the outside of the right boot. Carella will take it football style. Then says Craig Hall, do your worst. And off he goes, running into the line, and Featherstone will start on halfway with 6 to go. Davis goes on his own from dummy half. Could have got a high shot there. Referee says just get on with it. Jones slots into dummy half. Riley Jacks with it. Junior Moores. Back to Morgan Smith in traffic. Easily spins out of a couple, then gets clobbered, and that will be a penalty. Much to the frustration of the home fans.
It's a tough one. I think he's grabbed his collar really, which is a bit of a tough one to do because is that high or not? So he's scragged his collar. Sam Brooks isn't happy with it, but quick. It's like a quick tap, but he's not done. But yeah, I just think Featherstone look really dangerous, especially when you can start getting Carella involved. So wouldn't be surprised if Carella.
Yeah, I think you're right. He just grabbed his collar there. Tough shout against Barrow. End result, they're defending their own line. Wildy, Smith, then Ferris. Feints to offload and then almost drops the ball. Joey Leilua thinks about slotting in at dummy half, and Connor Jones says, don't you dare. It's Jones and Smith linking up with Wildy. Almost got 3 hookers in a row at the moment. Jones, Wildy goes back to first receiver right side. Junior Moores with a bit of steam. Back inside Carella. Smith in traffic though, wrapped up. Couple to go this set. Jones with Carella lurking. Really slow play. Oh, what's gone on there?
He's getting a turnover.
Oh, he's turned it over, yeah.
He's got a little bit messy in it, I think. Following them, what you said before, Georgia, 34-6 call.
Yeah. So into the last 10 minutes. Featherstone will win this one. They will go to the AB Sundex 1895 Cup final at Tottenham in 3 weekends' time in London and play the winners of the second semi-final, which is on the way. Live and exclusive here on Our League. Hang around for Sheffield versus Lee. Rovers, remember the cup holders, they beat York City Knights in the final last year. Can they retain their trophy? They've not had back-to-back knockout finals since the 70s, Featherstone. The Yorkshire Cup, 76-77. So these big moments for this club. Oh, and a lovely offload, and Jared Sammet through. He's got no support. Great dummy, Sammet. Eventually crowded out. Last tackle, Mossop's eventually there. Sammet's out of the play. Johnson flings it wide. Ritson will take it and knock on. It was all a little bit too desperate.
That's where I know we mentioned it a couple of times previously now on air, but in them sort of scenarios when they get a bit of a clean break and a quick look and a bit of carnage, a bit of chaos, I think Ritson needs to be around them areas rather than go waiting 3-4 passes to get the ball to the touchline for him, where he's going to get a lot of pressure. I don't know. I just think it should be something what the Barrow coach could think about in Ritson being around them areas, because you want him, especially in them types of scenarios with his hand on the ball. He's your most dangerous running threat. So why wait 3 or 4 passes before he gets the ball in his hand? Because there's a lot of transaction to go in that. Whereas the Featherstone line just jumped out line and pressured the ball player. So you're getting more pressure on Ritson when he actually does get the ball. I just think it'd be a real different dynamic for the Barrow team to have Ritson in them areas with his hand on the ball earlier.
Well, it's all too late now for Barrow. Final throws of this one. And Smith in traffic. Jones asking Ferris to get behind him. Ferris just holding his ground, almost looking to offload back to Connor Jones. Last tackle. Be Morgan Smith, first receiver. He's got Jacks in field. And here he is. They're going to run it again. He's going to end up with Bussey to kick. He's still going, Bussey. He's still going. Great driving run. What a try this is. Riley Jacks to finish. Brilliant by Bussey. Jacks with the finish. And Featherstone Rovers, for the first time since '77, can look forward to back-to-back knockout finals.
Really good try by Featherstone. I thought they'd bombed the chance when Bussey didn't give it Corella on the inside initially. Bussey knew what he was doing, also took him on the outside, back inside to Corella, but the flick pass from Corella to Riley Jacks is special, no matter what stage of the game this is. It's a real special play by Corella. Also, Riley Jacks following up in support, gets the ball down. So great try by Featherstone. It's interesting, they've tried that probably running the play on the last quite a few times. We mentioned it previously, the last couple of minutes, but instead of kicking at the end, they've actually held it this time and managed to find the support on the inside for a try. So it's probably a player that has been building for the last probably 5 or 6 minutes in terms of that side of the field. They've managed to shift the ball right to left and kick in the corner, but this time they've held the ball, found some support on the inside, and Corella, a miraculous flick pass inside to Riley Jacks, who scores at the side of the post.
Great try, arguably saved the best to last. We'll be taking Ryan Briley's Our League Player of the Match in a couple of minutes. Craig Hall wants to put another 2 on the scoreboard first and take Rovers beyond 40. He's giving it a hammer. It's another one out of the ground. Into the shopping centre behind us. And 40 points up for Featherstone, who lead by 40 points to 6. 7 different try scorers, including this. Finished by Riley Jacks. Great work, Bussey. Lovely flick ball from Corella. Well, the home man of the match has just been announced. I think we'd agree with that. Well, we called it. Sam Essay, brilliant for Barrow today off the bench. But how about your Our League Player of the Match, Ryan Briley?
I think there's been obviously a number of candidates. I thought Riley Jacks has been great in terms of the control. Morgan Smith has been great. Leilu has been his usual devastating best. Corella has been unbelievable. But for me, I just think Matty Wilde at dummy half, obviously played most of the game now. I just think he's been great out of dummy. I think playing a bit of loose forward at the more, was he kind of playing with two hookers on the field. Here he is again as he makes the break.
There he goes, Matty Wilde, right on cue, setting up another for Corella. Brilliant scrambling defence. So Matty Wilde, the Rovers 14, is the Our League Player of the Match, and Rovers aren't done yet. They want another score. Wilde has set one up with this break. Jones, Bussey, here he is. Wilde to Smith. Delayed ball to Ferris to go through and give the ball to Briscoe to walk in another. 101 for Briscoe. Wilde's break set it up. Ferris, the ultimate provider, and Briscoe walks in another, and Rovers have 44.
Probably my favourite try, just 'cause it made me look like a good pundit when Matty Wilde made the break. So yeah, I just think he's been great all game. Obviously, in terms of the ruck speed and what his forwards have done for him, has enabled Matty Wilde to play on the front foot with plenty of deception. He's sharp out of dummy half, and he made another break. He had Corella on his inside as well. So I just think he's been a real threat all game in terms of his decision making and his running game. So
might set up the field position for that, and Brett Ferry's lovely flick pass to Briscoe in the corner. I envisage this kind of happening. Also, pre-game we spoke about how the game would kind of go. I kind of thought Featherstone would run away. Last 15-20 minutes, too much quality on the field. I think they'll be real happy with how the game's gone. But yeah, obviously this afternoon's our league player of the match will be Matty Wildy.
Attendance confirmed as 1,804 up in Barrow. Decent proportion of them have made their way up from Featherstone, and they've seen Rovers win this semi-final by at least 44 points to 6, with this to come from this near touchline from Craig Hall. Metre or so in. 22 back. And he struck a beauty. Perfect kick. Barrow 6. Featherstone 46. And we're into the closing moments of this one. Well, credit Barrow's fans who are hanging around to salute their beaten semi-finalists. Have Featherstone got one more? There's Sam Essay, their home side's man of the match. Matty Wildy slotting back into the line. And Junior Moore's going off on a dart. Craig Hall, remember, was man of the match in the final 12 months ago, and the referee's bringing that one back. And of course his brother-in-law is Lee Breers, who will be there with Wigan on the same day. So that'll be a big day for the two families. A man who knows what it's like to win the Lance Todd Trophy, and he did so for Warrington Wolves, did Lee. A fantastic performance that was at Wembley that day. Can Barrow send the home fans home with something else to cheer? Attacking the line, it's gone behind Samet. Johnston will pick it up. Behind the play here. Well, they need a dummy half here. Carter eventually realises. I could have summed the whole afternoon up. Oh, that's an offload forward. Brett Ferris looks up and sees a ball. Says, I'll have that if you don't mind. Oh, it wasn't Ferris, I beg your pardon. Who was it? Was it Morgan Smith? Oh, it's Cooper, wasn't it? Cooper on the ground. Just looked up and he had a ball in his hands. There's a Featherstone player down in back field. There's the hooter. And an entertaining 80 minutes. But one drenched in the colours of Featherstone Rovers, who've been just too hot today. Too good. 8 tries. Brian McDermott's side have run in. The cup holders are going back to London, and they're the first side through to the finals of the AB Sundex 1895 Cup. Featherstone far too good for Barrow. A 46 points to 6 victory. And they will play either Lee or Sheffield in the defence of their trophy. Full value for their win. Ryan Briley.
Yeah, just ultimately what we spoke about before the game, which I just thought if Barrow could bring the emotion into the game and try and disrupt the Featherstone flow as much as they can, they might have had a chance. But I think, I'll say, pretty evident Featherstone just too good on the day. Too much quality in their lineup. That also they're really running hot in the league at the moment, and I think they've really carried that form over to today. Obviously, there's a potential for banana skin, and especially cup competitions, you're always wary of that. So I said pre-game that the pressure on the Featherstone side to come up with a win today was probably massive, and I think they handled that pressure really well and managed to find a way into the final. But well deserved. I don't think Barrow was ever in the game. I thought Featherstone were too good. Obviously led by the front was also with Matty Wildy's quality and his experience, especially out of dummy half. But in what Featherstone brought to the game, an array of skill, an array of talent. Attitude was first class, and they're coming with a real professional performance and finding themselves in the final against either Lee or Sheffield at Tottenham.
Well, that was the one score for the home side, start of the second half, from Dan Toll, but they were already 22 points adrift by then, when the big man bulldozed his way over just to give his side a little bit of hope. But really, you felt they had to score again pretty soon after that, and it was after that that it was actually one-way traffic, and Featherstone scored 5 of their own. That was the darting run to the line, and the setup for Brett Ferris to walk in off the delayed ball by the player of the match, Matty Wildy. Bussey had a big game as well, didn't he? He was involved in most of the good stuff going forward from Featherstone, but the little delayed ball, Wildy, Ferris.
Just think these are just looking at the scene now, so the Featherstone fans obviously celebrating with the Featherstone players. This is what that 1895 Cup brings you. It brings you moments like this where you can have a bit of joy and have a bit of obviously adulation for your team, and obviously follow them to London now and getting that new stadium at Tottenham, which will be a great occasion for the club. I think they've been great this year. Obviously, just what they deserve, a trip to Tottenham to play in a big game, a big showcase event in the final. So what I will say is that the people who put this 1895 Cup together, also the AB Sundex and the people involved in the Championship and the RFL, they've done a great job in creating an event where it's easy for players like the likes of Featherstone and the likes of Lee getting them big games. Also, I know Lee have got a real tough game at Sheffield in a couple of hours' time, but for me it gives you that opportunity to play in them big games, and I just think you should be really thankful to the people who put these events on, because it's not often players in the Championship get to play in these big games.
Well, we're seeing the final try scored by Featherstone, Carella and Jackson, and Briscoe second. Briscoe could have had a hat-trick. The Carella try could easily have been a Briscoe try. And while you're watching this, Featherstone are lining up in some T-shirts, which I'm guess will say they're going to Tottenham or something along those lines. There we are. Rovers, this house is ours. Celebrating in front of their fans. Special moments these for the Flat Cappers. And a big day, another big day in what's been a really big season for Featherstone. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage. Stay tuned, because on the way, semi-final 2 of the AB Sundex 1895 Cup between Sheffield and Lee for the right to play Featherstone, who have beaten Barrow, and they've won it by 46 points to 6. From Ryan Briley and from me, George Riley. Enjoy the next one, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.